Hey guys, so I've had a request to do a video on abdominal pain for some time now, and I figured like it was and is the perfect opportunity today to do that. I want to basically start out by saying that I had one of the worst cases of abdominal pain that I've ever known anybody to have. I was diagnosed with endometriosis as well as IBS. I had fits where I would literally and genuinely be curled up in a ball in fetal position on the floor, rocking myself to sleep, just hoping that I would fall asleep so I could wake up and I could feel better. I dealt with that for about 3 years. I was on pursuit after medical intervention wasn't working for me. I was in pursuit of finding something that would, because I was absolutely 100% desperate to have relief, to get my life back, because everything I was doing revolves around my pain or these fits that I would have. That was just one large indicator that something was wrong. I also had many other issues. I had UTIs consistently. I was like manic depressant, or I was bipolar. I had crazy mood swings that I was also later on down the road prescribed Prozac for. I was a mess. I had strange symptoms like unusual body odor. I had, let's see, rashes, reoccurring rashes, especially on my face, lots and lots of acne. I had painful bouts of like gas. Like the gas was so, I guess, I had so much gas at times where my intestines would actually ache. I was bloated 24/7, especially after eating anything. I had food intolerances galore. I was not able to eat dairy, gluten, rice, peanut butter. I was pretty much confined to vegetables, fruits, legumes. Actually, legumes I had issues with as well. Like I said, I had issues with peanut butter, beans. So it's pretty much confined to vegetables, fruits. At the time, I did not know what I know now, so I was eating a little bit of meat because I felt that I needed that. So I'm here now to tell you how I 100% beat endometriosis, parasite infection, IBS, pretty much anything and everything that comes with this abdominal region, upper, lower. I had it all. So the first thing, if I had known now, or if I had known then what I know now, the first thing that I would have done, which I later on discovered, was giving up meat and dairy, animal-based products in general, is essential, at least while you're healing. I mean, regardless of the ethical reasons that one might give up those things, if you're wanting to heal, firstly, we're the only species that drinks another species' milk past maturation. We have to understand that milk is a hormonal fluid that is designed to grow a 200-pound calf into a 1,000 to 2,000-pound cow in a matter of half a year to a year or so. So these are things that we are not taught growing up. These are things that have just been normal. These are things that I've always known to be normal. You know, consuming dairy has just been normal because that's what society tells us is okay. Meat and dairy are also very, very acidic. When you're trying to heal and you have a low oxygenated environment internally, and most everybody, especially in America, is over-consuming meats, oils, and dairy products, as well as eggs. And these things, we don't realize how much they feed pathogens. So what I'll say is abdominal pain is a sign, and it's a crying out, your body's crying out, letting you know that there's something going on and thriving inside of you. Pain, autoimmune disease, the body doesn't just attack itself for no reason. Your body's trying to ultimately tell you something, and anytime there's pain, 9 times out of 10, you're dealing with a viral load, a bacterial infection, a parasite infection, single-celled or multi-celled organism. These things, long story short, basically make their home inside of you, their residence inside of you, because you've suppressed your immune system. What that means is when you eat lots of refined processed foods, conventional meat, conventional dairy, you're eating processed food out of a bag, potato chips, cookies, things with really hard to pronounce ingredients, things that are prepackaged. When you're eating a ton of stuff like that with tons of ingredients, your body, first of all, is an organic compound that was designed to utilize organic constituents, so real phytochemicals, real things found in food, minerals and vitamins. When you consume something or put something on your skin that enters into the bloodstream that is foreign, that your body doesn't know what to do with, over a period of time it accumulates in the liver, it's stored in the fat cells, it's stored throughout the body and the lymph, and you end up with a very sluggish system. Imagine an oil filter that is trying to filter a really thick, goopy oil. And the oil needs to be changed. Humans, we cannot filter or change our filters. We can't change our liver. What happens is symptoms. We have symptoms of a sluggish liver, whether that's in the form of acne, whether that's in the form of Crohn's, body odor, bladder infections. So basically, what you have to do is pretty much relearn everything that you thought you knew, okay? Especially when it comes to food. Food is designed to stimulate and nourish our immune system so that our immune system can be optimal, so that when we are under attack, and an intruder comes in, whether it's through our food, through our soil, through our drinking water, things like giardia, hookworms, these things are it's an epidemic. And so when we get these types of infections, our immune systems need to be optimally functioning to fight off foreign invaders. And when you have a superior immune system, that's exactly what happens. When you don't, you end up with not just colds and flus all of the time. Yeah, that is one means of being symptomatic. But in some people, that's not the case. In some people, that is that's gut dysbiosis. That is something troubling a certain area of the body, whether that's your joints. For me, it was some joint issues, but it was also mostly confined to the abdominal region as well as the neurological region, because I was having tons and tons of mood disorders, you know, tons of mood issues. I was a walking, I don't even know. I was a mess. So what you have to pretty much do is relearn your entire everything. What that means is foods from the earth that are manipulated by the sun and by the rain, and that are pretty much confined outside to get through really harsh weather conditions. The things that make that food sustainable are the same phytonutrients that make our bodies sustainable. So the first thing that I would do to somebody with abdominal pain is I would recommend, highly recommend, that first, if they're having an issue with giving up meat and dairy, I would absolutely have you read the China study, the most comprehensive nutritional study ever conducted. It's 100% backed by science, an unbiased scientist by the name of Colin Campbell. And it's just an amazing source of information. The second thing I would encourage you to do is go onto YouTube, type in Caldwell Esselstyn, the healthiest diet in the world, as well as Dr. Michael Greger on YouTube, and listen to things that have been proven, things that we've never known. This is all new, accurate information that could save your life. So the next thing that I would do is, you've accumulated tons and tons of junk and impurities and toxins throughout your body. Your body doesn't know how to handle it. It's basically very similar to if you leave tons of trash outside and you're not taking the trash out, eventually you end up with parasites and bugs that come in to decompose of cellular waste. So these bugs, their intent is not to necessarily hurt you or to make your house feel yucky, you know. I mean, it's there. They're there. They're attracted to the environment in which they need to decompose. So taking the trash out. That being said, a juice fast is highly essential in this, because the body's lacking tons of things that it doesn't have, and so your ability with your knowledge now is to give the body what it needs, and that is through sources of vegetables and things that you've neglected to give your body. That would be the first thing. I would, at the very least, 3 days, but I highly, highly recommend going for as long as you can. If you're wanting to get where you're going fast, that's the way. Next, I would absolutely transition to a whole foods plant-based diet. If you have any questions, again, the China study. There's also a book by Dr. Michael Greger, How Not to Die. These things tell you scientifically, and you know, double-controlled placebo trials. It's so evident what health is, and how we America have these chronic foodborne illnesses, the first being cancer, the second being, or excuse me, the first being heart disease, the second being cancer, and the third being medical intervention. We spend more money on healthcare than any other country in the world, and we also have the worst outcomes. So that would be the second thing. Absolutely radically changing your diet. And then also incorporating things that are going to support your liver and support your body. I'm talking milk thistle is really important, I think, in the journey. Dandelion root. Herbs, get in touch with herbs. Get in touch with God's medicine the way that He intended it, because it's really, really, truly healing. So those are going to be some really good things that you can do while juice fasting. A few things that people are deficient in, such as B12. That's not just vegans and vegetarians. That's typically everybody. D3, vitamin D. We don't spend as much time as we did outside. We're not eating from the garden to get the B12 microbiome that we used to. So those two things, D3 and vitamin and B12, I think are pretty crucial. So those are things that people are already deficient in before they, you know, are in pursuit of a whole foods plant-based diet. The third thing that I would do in that diet, I would absolutely incorporate tons of lime and lemon and ginger in your juices. They pretty much have amazing anti-cancer compounds, and can pretty much detox all of these areas in your body in a safe way. Incorporating flaxseed, a tablespoon of milled flaxseed, is an amazing thing for your digestive health. The lignans in it are also anti-cancerous. It's an amazing thing. I highly recommend that you add that into your diet as well. Fermented foods, I wouldn't say it's a have to, but we have absolutely, we bought our little fermentation kit, and we have made our own, and I will tell you that I've seen a significant difference in bowel habits and regularity ever since. I do not take pill probiotics. I take real, raw, fermented foods as my probiotics. The other thing that I really believe is important The whole reason that you have gut dysbiosis and abdominal pain in the first place is because you're not giving your intestines the proper fiber content that it needs to push things out. And so I will say that in that, your immune system is still not optimal. The whole reason that you got in this predicament is because your body doesn't know what to do with all of this extra stuff. So that's why you're in this predicament in the first place. You've mistreated and neglected your body up until this point, and your body said enough. So until your immune system is optimal, functioning optimally, I think it's a wonderful idea, and you may hear differently by other people. I think it's a wonderful idea to incorporate some means of detoxing. I personally got the most drastic results with food-grade diatomaceous earth. I saw dead worms in my stool by week like 3.5, 4. And I did that continuously as I radically changed my diet in the process. And I also incorporated some herbs, some like black walnut, wormwood, and clove tinctures. I played around with them all. I did not just attack this from just the food direction. I went, I wanted pretty much immediate results, and I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to get there. When I was using food-grade diatomaceous earth, I did become more prone to constipation. I was already prone to constipation beforehand. So one thing that I would absolutely recommend anybody who's having abdominal pain, aside from DE, is Dr. Jennifer Daniels' Vitality Capsules. What you're doing is you are clearing years of accumulated bowels when you are using a bowel assister. And with that, you can literally be weeks and weeks behind. And so you could literally have putrefied, rotten matter inside of your intestines that's just really stuck in there. So you want to be able to stimulate your liver bile to pretty much push your any kind of waste out during this process. So you don't want to be backed up when you're doing DE. If you become constipated, cut your dose back and increase your bowel habits, because otherwise you will end up reabsorbing die-off, and it will cause a Herxheimer's reaction, and it can exacerbate symptoms and in which you don't want to do. You don't want to have to do that, because the whole point of doing this is feeling better. So DE was an amazing thing for me. Again, had I have known then what I know now, I would have changed my diet first and not later, because I think that would have absolutely sped the process up by a lot. I also use other means of detoxes that people may think would be more harsh. Do I regret it? Absolutely not. I am 100% without any symptoms, any previous symptoms that I once had. And I am ecstatic about it, and I would do it all over again. One of those means of detoxing that I did was 100% Pure Gum Spirits Pine Oil. Look it up if you don't know anything about it. If you have any questions, feel free to post them below, and I can send you some articles or something to help you better understand what that is. I will also say, in order to get where you're going, you need to be patient. If you suspect that your condition is severe, if you suspect that you could potentially have some kind of like cancer or some kind of like life-threatening disease, I would also recommend that you do these things with extreme intensity. So, for instance, juice fasting, I would go way longer than 3 days. I would push it to every bit of 90 days if that's a possibility. If you don't believe that people can actually live through a 90-day juice fast, there are many, 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 many routes to disproving that. But Crispy Cancer by Chris Wark is another book that is an amazing testimony of how you can actually completely turn off cancer by using food, as well as the China study. So if you're looking at something like that, then it needs to be more radical. I wouldn't even transition into a plant-based diet until after the initial juice fast. And I know it takes a lot of willpower, but I'm telling you, when you're done feeling like crap and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you will do whatever it takes. It doesn't mean I was ready to drink my own urine if I believed that it could potentially help me feel better and get me back to living a happy life. I was desperate. So when you get to that point, you'll know. Until then, you will suffer and you will get worse. And it took me 2.5 years to realize that, okay, something's got to give. The doctors haven't helped me. The testing, I had all of the testing. It came back negative. Nothing was detected. But I knew that something was wrong with me, and I was absolutely 100% right. And always trust your instinct and your intuition, because that will take you far in life, and it did with me. I knew that what was going on, the medical intervention was not helping, and it will not help you. They can suppress and hide your symptoms for a little while, but that's about it. And so I realized that at one point I felt like I needed to step in, that maybe there was something that I could do on my behalf, maybe something that I wasn't doing right. And I actually was right. It was the lifestyle that I was living. It was going to Taco Bell. It was eating tons of meat. It was eating, completely filling up on Little Debbie's some nights. And I wasn't a huge person, that's the thing, but I was not aware. So I'm here to tell you that you can absolutely heal 100% from your condition, whether that be heart disease, coronary issues, whether that be high blood pressure, whether that be Crohn's disease, whether that be ulcerative colitis, whether that be stage 4 terminal cancer, whether that be lupus or RA. It doesn't matter what the condition is. There's a reason behind it. There's a pathogen behind it, because you've suppressed your immune system. The longest living populations in the world outlive us by a lot. They're typically the Seventh-day Adventists in Okinawa, Japan as well. They have coined the term centurion because they have more people that live to 100 than America has ever had, and if we continue down the road that we're continuing down, we'll never see that. So I say that we follow those the longest living populations. They're doing something right, and they're all plant-based. The 2 longest living nations in the world are plant-based, whole foods plant-based, and they have no need for medical intervention because they have heightened immune systems, and that is where disease starts. Disease starts with a suppressed immune system, and the only way that you can suppress your immune system is with inorganic additives, whether that be in the food, whether that be the chemicals you put on your skin, but that's where it all starts. And so there are probably a few things that I forgot to mention, but heavy metals is another one. Heavy metal detoxing as well as parasite detoxing, because parasites carry heavy metals, and when you kill off parasites, they leave behind heavy metals. They end up in your brain. They can cause neurological issues as well. So heavy metal detoxing is really important, and it's usually included in some kind of parasite detox. Food grade diatomaceous earth detoxes heavy metals as well. So basically what you have to reteach yourself, you basically have to relearn all of this. When you pick up your fork, or when you pick up something to put it in your mouth, every single time ask yourself, is this giving my body what it needs, or is it adding to the problem? Is this going to feed pathogens inside of me because I have a suppressed immune system already, or is it going to ward them off? Is it going to fight them off? Those are the questions that we have to start asking ourselves if we want to get anywhere with our health. And we also have to understand we're on the cusp of a seismic revolution, really and truly. I love that. Caldwell Esselstyn actually said that. But one thing that we have to understand is what we've been taught up until this point hasn't always been true. And so we have to relearn how to cook. We have to relearn pretty much everything that we've ever been taught. All the advertisements and all the things that we see in school and all the things that we learn in school or that we think are correct in school, All of these things, we have to be receptive to understanding that they didn't have it right. So is it feeding or is it fighting your disease? That is the question. And it starts there. It starts what's on your plate. And you can absolutely eat your way out of chronic illnesses and chronic disease. And I'm believing that that could be a really cool book title for a future upcoming book. So thank you guys for listening. I wish you well. If you have any questions, I've been there. I've done it. I've had surgeries. I've had, you know, I've had crazy, almost breakups because of my mental incapacity to be where I wanted to be. I just wasn't there. I was really sick. So I've been through all of it, and I could definitely at least give you hope until you get where you're going. Thanks, guys.